From humbling the biggest YouTuber in the world,
Do you think MrBeast ruined YouTube?
Yes.
to even calling out his own best friend when he crossed the line.
I think what Felix did was very stupid. I think it was a very moronic thing to do.
For over a decade, Jacksepticeye has been one of the most trusted faces on YouTube. Jack started his career from gaming videos in his bedroom and quickly grew into one of the platform's strongest moral voices. Jack never saw YouTube as just numbers, and he cared about the people behind the screen. So when he called out arrogant creators, his words carried weight, because he wasn't chasing clout, he was speaking for the fans. And these are the times Jacksepticeye humbled YouTubers. When people think about success on YouTube, they think about MrBeast. With every new video having a bigger budget and even crazier ideas, Jimmy has set the golden standard for content on YouTube. But with that success, MrBeast became an easy target for hate, with some people even going after the videos where he was just trying to help and raising millions of dollars for charity. Although most of the criticism MrBeast faces is usually baseless, every once in a while someone raises a fair point. And that's exactly what happened when Jacksepticeye was asked about MrBeast on camera, because in 2023 Jack took a lie detector test on Tommy Innit's channel. He was asked a question that he definitely didn't see coming.
A completely unrelated question. Do you like MrBeast?
No.
Jack didn't pause for even a second before saying that he wasn't a fan of MrBeast. But Tommy wasn't done yet and kept pressing Jack about MrBeast.
Do you think MrBeast ruined YouTube?
Yes.
To everyone's surprise, Jack decided to explain why he exactly thinks that MrBeast has ruined YouTube.
Now, in all honesty, Jack, why?
Because it became more about views, money, and popularity than it did about having fun.
You just don't think you had fun playing Squid Games? You don't think you had fun riding on yachts? Building wells in Africa? I don't know.
If he had fun doing those videos, they'd be longer. We'd see the fun.
Ooh.
Jack shared why he thinks that YouTube has permanently changed for the worse, and now creators just care more about views, money, and popularity than about the simple joy of creating content. The clip spread like wildfire, and fans who were always hungry for drama to take MrBeast down shared it across every corner of social media. And then, it caught the attention of MrBeast himself. Jimmy fired back on X by questioning the claim that he had ruined YouTube. He asked if he had ruined YouTube just because he didn't buy a mansion or sports cars, and instead reinvested his money into making content and inspiring kids to help people. And Jimmy didn't stop there and decided to break down Jack's comment word by word. If he had fun, the videos would be longer. What does that even mean, lol? You think I'd give up every hour of my life for 14 years if I didn't have fun? However, MrBeast ended up deleting the tweet. But by then it was too late. Although a lot of people were supporting him, a fair amount of people called him out for the style of his newer content. Jack wasn't afraid to call out the biggest YouTuber in the world, and over time, MrBeast actually tried to make peace with him, even suggesting they film something together. But it never happened, mostly because of scheduling issues.
I got tickets to go see Tool, and the day MrBeast was filming was the day Justin flew in and the day Tool was performing, so I was like, I'm sorry, Jimmy.
But that wasn't the only time Jack called MrBeast out, because in June 2025, MrBeast launched a controversial tool that creates thumbnails for YouTube videos by using AI. At first, it sounded like a cool idea, until people realized what the tool actually did. The tool could steal the exact style and faces of popular creators, letting anyone recreate their thumbnails and just slap their own face on it. To make matters worse, the tool came with an $80 monthly fee for content that was basically stolen, and it didn't take long for the internet to call it out. Fans quickly called the tool unethical and accused MrBeast of stealing from YouTubers who spent years creating their unique thumbnails. And Jack was the first big creator to call it out. On X, Jack didn't hold back and called out Jimmy for using his logo in the promotion of the tool and how much he hates what YouTube is turning into. His reaction summed up what many fans and creators were feeling. The tool crossed the line. The backlash was brutal, and every corner of the internet was calling Jimmy out. MrBeast finally broke his silence and told fans that his only goal was to help small creators, and promised to update the tool so no one could just copy another YouTuber's thumbnail. However, just 5 days after the launch, MrBeast ended up removing the tool from the internet and even asked creators to hire real human thumbnail artists instead. Jack knew Jimmy was taking an arrogant step, and this wasn't just about him. It was about every creator who spent years shaping their identity only to see it blurred into a lifeless AI template. And Jack proved that when the internet unites, even even the biggest YouTuber in the planet has to listen. If there's one name that came to define arrogance on YouTube, it was Logan Paul. At the peak of his fame, Logan wasn't just chasing views. He was desperate to prove that no boundary on YouTube could hold him back. And that same reckless mindset pushed him straight into Japan's Aokigahara Forest, a place where Logan tried to turn tragedy into content. And the second that infamous vlog hit the internet, the backlash was instant. Millions of people who watched the video were horrified, and many YouTubers across the platform spoke out against Logan. And that's when Jack decided to voice his concern too.
I think that it was a completely disgusting thing to do. That the lack of humanity that was shown in that video is astounding. It shocks me to my core.
Although Jack was really disgusted by Logan's behavior, he still decided to give him the benefit of the doubt.
We all go through the same issues. Some of us are having a harder time than others. But at the end of the day, we're all just people. We're all here together in this, fighting the good fight, all together, trying to just find happiness in our lives. And I think doing something like this is what the message behind all of this was supposed to be. What Logan thought he was doing was spreading a message about awareness for all of these types of topics.
However, Jack didn't just stop there and decided to do something to turn the situation into something positive.
But as I said, actions speak louder than words. So what I want to do is this Sunday, what date is that? January the 7th. I want to hold a charity live stream for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I wanna go forward and try and turn this into some sort of a teachable moment.
And Jack actually followed through and streamed over 8 hours to raise over $200,000 for charity.
There are people out there who will help, and you are never alone in any of this. This community here is proof that you are not alone.
Jack reminded his audience that YouTube isn't a playground, and when millions of young viewers look up to you, the choices you make don't just reflect on you, they reflect on the entire community. Before becoming a YouTube megastar, Jack was just sharing his gameplay videos and laughing at glitches with a small group of fans. So when PewDiePie ran a competition in 2013 to give shoutouts to lesser-known YouTubers, it caught Jack's eye. Jack had only about 2,000 subscribers, and to his surprise, he ended up winning a shoutout from PewDiePie himself.
Top of the modern fucking, I don't even know. This guy seems crazy. I really like whatever it is he's doing. He seemed really funny. His name is Jacksepticeye. You should check him out as well.
Jack was beyond grateful for the shoutout and even made a Reddit post thanking PewDiePie for the chance and promised to work his hardest to create quality content. From that point on, Jack's viewership exploded and he started grinding harder than ever. Thanks to his hard work and the shoutout from PewDiePie, Jack soon became one of the YouTube's fastest rising creators. And it wasn't long before PewDiePie and Jack started collabing together. And over time, those collabs grew into a genuine friendship. However, PewDiePie soon found himself knee-deep in controversy after a few of his jokes went too far. During that period, PewDiePie was dabbling in edgy humor, including anti-Semitic jokes that leaned on shock value for laughs. To him, it may have felt like satire, a way to poke fun at internet culture, but to the rest of the world, it came across as reckless and arrogant. And when the backlash came, it wasn't just the mainstream media and journalists calling him out. Even within YouTube, people who admired him had to ask the hard question: had PewDiePie finally crossed the line? PewDiePie was one of Jack's best friends, and for that reason alone, many assumed Jack would defend him blindly, or at the very least, stay silent. But despite all that, Jack shocked the world when he didn't hesitate to call PewDiePie out.
The first thing I want to say is that I do not condone what happened. I do not condone these types of jokes. I do not condone the type of message that it was sending or any sort of hate speech, any sort of belittling of minorities, races, religions, anything like that.
Jack made it clear he didn't support PewDiePie's comments, even though he meant them as a joke.
I think it gets a lot more serious. I don't think you can just brush it off as just a joke or that the context matters. I think it's a broader thing because people can take that joke out of context and then that can send a very bad message, or it can seem to promote different things. And then that gets very bad. It gets very blurry then.
Although Jack made it clear he didn't support PewDiePie's jokes, he also reminded fans that Felix wasn't like that in real life.
I know Felix very well in my personal life. I've known him for a while now. We're pretty good friends. And I know for a fact that he's not a Nazi. I know for a fact that he's not an anti-Semitic person. Again, this doesn't excuse what he did. I'm just trying to, like, for the people who are asking, is he a Nazi or not? I'm trying to say, no, he's not. 100% in his real life, He's not like that.
To sum up his video, Jack said the situation could have been handled better, but he was glad PewDiePie owned up to his mistakes and promised to do better.
Everything could have been handled a lot better. Felix's video, I think maybe he shouldn't have edited that joke in. I don't condone the joke he made. I think he's sorry for what he did. I believe him. And he's going to work off that and try and become a better person, which I have respect for.
Jack could have stayed quiet, letting friendship cloud his judgment, but instead, he chose accountability. In that moment, Jack showed that standing up to arrogance sometimes means standing up to a friend. He recognized the arrogance in Felix's content choice and refused to look the other way, no matter how close they were. Despite everything, PewDiePie and Jack stayed friends, because even Felix knew a true friend isn't afraid to call you out even when you cross the line. Jack isn't afraid to call out his friends when they get arrogant, but he'll also stand up for them when other arrogant YouTubers attack them. DanTDM built his YouTube career by creating family-friendly and entertaining videos, earning trust of millions of young fans. So when he saw KSI and Logan Paul team up with MrBeast to launch Launchly, their version of Lunchables, the classic kids meal kits with sandwiches, snacks, and drinks, Dan wasn't impressed, because instead of a proper meal, it came with just a bottle of Prime, a Feastables bar, and some questionable cheese. And Dan wasn't gonna stay silent. Dan took to X and said, "What happened to YouTubers, man? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust people who are selling it to them." Dan didn't call them out to get views. He spoke up because he believed Lunchly was misleading and unhealthy, and he refused to stay silent while big creators used their influence to sell unhealthy food to kids. MrBeast tried to defend himself by saying that while fresh meals are always healthier, they launched Lunchly to offer a better pre-made option for kids at a similar price to Lunchables. But the other owners of Lunchly weren't so understanding. Instead of listening to feedback, KSI and Logan Paul both took shots at Dan, painting his criticism as hypocrisy. Logan Paul arrogantly tweeted out at Dan saying how YouTubers are trying to build businesses now, and if people don't like the products, they don't have to buy them. And KSI ended up releasing a 20-minute video titled "Everybody Hates Us Right Now," where he tried to call Dan out for his businesses and then even threatened Dan on X. Logan and KSI's arrogance made them think they could silence every voice, until Jacksepticeye spoke up. Jack has been seeing their arrogance from the sidelines, and he decided to put a stop on it. On a X post, Jack shared how if you mess with DanTDM, you mess with YouTube, alongside an image that read, "You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us." The post blew up and got over 300,000 likes, rallying fans and creators alike, and showing that Jack was standing up for the community. The reaction from fans was immediate and clear. People were picking sides, and almost all of them stood with Jack and Dan. Soon after, Lunchly hit another controversy when reports surfaced about mold in the food, proving that Jack and Dan had been right all along. Jack showed that when creators and fans stand together, nobody can push them around. In 2023, SSSniperWolf was one of the biggest creators on YouTube. With over 35 million subscribers, she was getting millions of views on her every video. But there was a major flaw in her content. Most of her videos were reaction videos, where she was reacting to already viral clips with little commentary and no credits to the original creators. And when Jacksfilms saw that, he decided enough was enough. Known for his sharp humor and honesty, Jack constantly called SSniperWolf out for her lazy approach and even launched a parody channel, JJ Jacksfilms, mocking just how predictable her content had become.
Oh, messy wessy, someone has sloppy boppy on their facey wacy. Or nothing, we're just gonna get 5 seconds.
But instead of changing her style of content, SSniperWolf fired back, claiming her content was original and that others were just copying her style. And when Jacksfilms saw that, he couldn't ignore the irony, and even called YouTube out for trying to further boost SSniperWolf. And that rubbed SSniperWolf off the wrong way, and she took things way too far. SSniperWolf decided to dox Jacksfilms' address and posted it on her Instagram for her millions of followers, writing things like, "Should I go visit at Jacksfilms? He lives 5 minutes away from my shoot," and even "Let's talk like adults." And when Jacksfilms saw that, he was in complete shock. He called SSniperWolf a creepy stalker and asked YouTube to take action against her. Jacksepticeye had been keeping an eye on this situation, but when SSniperWolf put Jacksfilms' safety at risk, even he couldn't just watch from a distance. He called out SSniperWolf, asking how anyone could think doxing is ever okay. But he didn't just stop there. When YouTube announced that SSniperWolf had received temporary monetization suspension due to her activities and mentioned mentioned how they don't want behavior of both parties on YouTube, Jack pointed out the obvious hypocrisy. He pointed out how criticizing someone's lazy content cannot be equated to doxing, and even the community notes called YouTube out. Jacksepticeye made it clear he wouldn't let even the platform that made him famous get away with arrogance or hypocrisy. SSSniperWolf eventually apologized to Jack's films, but her behavior hasn't changed, and she's still reacting to content that isn't hers. Jack wasn't just humbling arrogant YouTubers, he even called out people in positions of power at Google when they made baseless statements. Because in October 2020, the gaming community was rocked by a statement from Alex Hutchinson, the creative director at Google Stadia, a cloud gaming service, when he suggested that streamers should pay developers and publishers for the games they stream. Hutchinson's then doubled down and argued that streamers were making money off content they didn't own, so they should be buying a license like any real business and paying for the content they use. And when Jack saw this ignorant yet arrogant take, he decided to call Alex out. Jacksepticeye pointed out the irony in Hutchinson's stance, because Alex's Twitter banner featured a fan art of Jacksepticeye without proper credit or permission. Jacksepticeye tweeted out, "I find this thinking extremely ironic, considering you have a fan art of me, a streamer, as your banner from when I played Savage Planet. You've even cropped out their watermark in their banner and haven't given them credit for it anywhere. Very hypocritical." And Jack was right. If Alex believed in compensating creators for their content, he should first ensure that he was respecting the rights of artists whose work he used. After Jack called out Alex for his ignorant take, other YouTubers quickly rallied behind him, pointing out just how nonsensical Alex's statement was. Even MrBeast jumped in on the action and ratioed Alex multiple times. After the backlash, Google distanced itself from Alex's comments, and by 2023, Stadia was completely shut down, showing the impact YouTubers can have when they speak up for their community.